Hey guys, before we get started, I just wanted to take a second to tell you about the Muscle Hustle. It is a super fun grappling related game that you can get on your mobile device that allows you to collect, train, and promote a completely original roster of wrestlers. And they all have unique abilities that you can combine and train up and equip new gear. And you build a team of these guys to take on other teams and challenge for championships. It's really, really fun. There's also PvP stuff. I haven't even touched that yet. Like, I'm just having so much fun with the single player stuff. There's a whole campaign where you go around all the different territories trying to win the world titles. Really, really fun game to play. And just because you listen to the B+, the great guys and girls over at the Muscle Hustle app are going to give you some fantastic rewards. So if you enter in the code the B+ when you play from the promo code in the settings menu, you're going to get 25 gold to go towards building up your team and training your team. It's going to give you a leg up against the competition. So click the link in the show notes, download the app, enter the code the B+, and I'll see you in the ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.
Hold one. Andre.
You're not good at this. Get out. Let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon.
You just made the list.
Oh my God.
Sorry, no speak English.
Dummy. Goodbye and good night. Hold two. On bar.
It's still real to me, damn it.
Dummy.
This is the worst town I've ever been in.
Hold three. Lamas covered. Three-handle family Gradunzo.
Mamma mia.
And now,
Unchained.media presents the B+ Podcast with your host, Greg Unchained.
It's me, Austin. It was me all along, Austin.
number 4, armbar.
I will never retire.
I still got 200 more. I got 200 more holes to list.
All right, fellow B+ players, welcome to the B+ Podcast. I'm your host, Greg Unchained. Today is Monday. It's Royal Rumble Monday. Happy Royal Rumble Monday, everybody. Joining me to break down what we just saw, well, a couple hours ago now, because apparently she has a life. Danders the Manders. How are you, Danders?
I am well, thank you, Mr. Unchained. I don't have a life, I just have a little bit of a hangover. There's nothing quite like being hungover at 7 o'clock at night. It's glorious.
Yeah, so I saw some pictures on Instagram. It wasn't from you, it was, but I assume you were in a similar position. The On the Turnbuckle boys went and watched this at the pub. Were you at the same pub?
Yeah, we're at the same table.
Yeah, and he was drinking beer at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, it was a long day. That's for sure. I had some Canadian Club in my cereal at about 7 o'clock this morning, so that's how I kicked it off. And it was
that sounds disgusting.
Look, it wasn't my wisest decision, but I got up at 4 because Royal Rumble is Christmas to me. I love Royal Rumble more than Christmas. I love it more than WrestleMania. It's one of my favorite days of the year. So I was very excited. I couldn't sleep.
We're very much in the same boat there. Royal Rumble is my favorite pay-per-view. When I was a kid, it was one of my friends would get WrestleMania every year. And so Royal Rumble was the one that we would get, and people would come to my house for Royal Rumble and bring all the snacks and all that sort of stuff, right? So yeah, Royal Rumble is like my day. I love Royal Rumble Day. And I got to share it with my kids today, which was great. I tossed up going to the pub, and I was like, I can afford petrol to get to the pub, because the pub where they do it in Adelaide, I'm pretty far out from the city. So I'm like, I could like fill up petrol in the car and go to the pub, or I could get a bunch of snacks and watch the Rumble with the kids. And I think I made the right choice, because
snacks wins every time.
Some of my daughter's observations throughout the Royal Rumble were amazing. So
absolutely, kids say the darndest things.
Yeah, it was good fun. But let's get into it. So you didn't watch the pre-show, right? They weren't showing the pre-show.
They were not showing the pre-show, and people were like watching it on their phones at the pub. But I was just like, I'm just going to watch this later. I do know the results, and I have since rewatched the Mr. Murphy, watched his match.
The 4-way, yeah.
Yeah, but the other matches I'm still unfamiliar with.
Yeah, so, I mean, I was hoping, I had high hopes that the Cruiserweight title would get bumped up to the main card, probably in the death spot after the Women's Rumble, right? Like, I was thinking that might happen because they added Rude and Gable against Razor and Dawson to the pre-show.
Yeah,
Like,
having a look, there was 10 matches in total, including both of the Rumbles.
it was a
10
really long
matches.
show.
Yeah.
Really long. But yeah, Rude and Gable won that match at least, which was good. Shinsuke beat Rusev for the US title, which, I mean, I don't know if I can buy Shinsuke as a champion at the moment. Like, I feel like his character is just too damaged.
And I don't understand the point of giving it to Rusev only then to take it away from him.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, as I said, I haven't seen the match, so I don't know where it's going. And to think of where Rusev was last year, like the power that was behind him versus where he is now it's almost criminal, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you go even further back to like when Rusev rode in on the tank and stuff, like he was so over. And then, yeah, he sort of, they destroyed him and then he built himself up and got himself over again.
Mm-hmm.
And they sort of pulled the trigger too late. And now they're just taking it straight back off him. It's really odd. I feel like they're in panic mode. Like, who do we want to keep the happiest so that they don't leave?
Yeah, it's very bizarre, and it at the end of the day, it just further makes the United States Championship look like trash. It's a hot potato style of championship.
Yeah, it's disappointing. But hey, it wasn't even on the real show, so most people don't even realize it happened. Shawn Michaels though was really great on the pre-show. Just on the panel, he was there on the panel for part of the show, and he was just really biased towards NXT. So he was there when they announced the whole NXT doing the halftime heat thing. And
what is that? Sorry, as someone who didn't watch it, what is the halftime heat?
So halftime heat so they've done it, I think, once before. They might have done it twice. I know they've done it at least once before because I remember Rock and Mankind being on it. It's when they put on a show at the same time as the Super Bowl halftime show.
Ah.
So the idea is for people who don't want to see Lady Gaga or Beyonce or whoever they get for the Super Bowl halftime show, they can turn over and watch some graps in the meantime, and then turn back. Yeah,
that's cool.
It's pretty cool. And them trusting the NXT guys to carry something at the Super Bowl halftime is pretty cool.
Yeah, I know that we were talking about it off in our own sort of world about the crossover between NFL fans and wrestling fans. I guess it would be different in Australia with NFL being more of a niche sport, but I wonder how many people are who would be watching the Super Bowl would also then want to watch NXT. It's an interesting concept.
I feel like there's got to be some crossover.
Yeah, especially with NXT being more niche in the wrestling world than people who, like casual fans, would know.
Yeah.
But as I said, it is a very interesting concept.
Yeah, definitely, and it's big of them to give it to the NXT guys. I think that's going to be a fantastic match. So it's a 6-man tag. So you've got, what was it, on one side you've got Adam Cole with the champs, right, DIY, and then you got Velveteen Dream, Ricochet, and Aleister Black on the other side.
So that's what was built up. That was what was built up at TakeOver. That's where that was going.
Yeah,
right?
On the post show, because they did that angle, and a lot of people were like, "Is this a farewell for some of these guys?" Or no, it's just they're building to something cool that they're going to do next week, which is pretty nice.
That is very nice.
Yeah, but the point I was getting at was Shawn Michaels. So he's there when they're announcing all this and stuff, and they're talking to him about potential NXT people in the Rumble, and he's talking about how he hopes an NXT person wins the Rumble and shocks the world and stuff. And he's like, and they're like, "Well, you might be a little bit biased," and he's like, "No, I am not biased." And then the camera just lingers on him, and he's wearing his NXT hat and his NXT shirt. It was just one of those moments because when Shawn Michaels does that, like he'll deliver a line straight to the camera, and it's like really on the nose. Yeah, I loved it.
Like he's a character in The Office.
Yes, yeah, he does the Jim Halpert thing better than Jim Halpert. Yeah, it's amazing. But yeah, that was really all I took away from the pre-show. Of course, Buddy Murphy won, which was nice.
Yeah. So having a look at the results, why is Razor and Scott Dawson together?
Yeah, so that was because Akam was injured. I'm guessing they wanted to have the Authors of Pain go for the titles here, but Akam's injured. So instead, they put Razor with Dawson, and if their team wins, then both Authors of Pain and the Revival will get a title shot in the future.
That's bizarre.
yeah, it's a weird concept. Like, you could have just not had the match and maybe done an hour pre-show and maybe, had the show be a lot shorter.
Yeah. Having a look, I would say, and I'm sure that we'll get to this in a little bit, but had the tag matches not had the son of the boss in them, they surely would have been relegated to the pre-show.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. But then maybe people would have complained because the women's stuff was all first, right? Like, I made a joke that the first half of the show just got all the women's stuff out of the way, but then I remembered, oh wait, Shane and Miz and that whole thing was in there too. But
yeah. I
so
guess
it would have been. I think it would have been awkward if they'd taken that to the pre-show and then the first half of the show was just all the women's stuff.
It definitely would have been awkward in like a weird reversal of last year. I guess it makes sense when you needed to have the, spoiler alert, the Becky Lynch part.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And then I guess also the Nia part, which I'm sure we both have plenty of opinions about. I think that they should have switched it up with the, like, had a men's and a women's match in each of the halves, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't know why
absolutely.
they had both women's matches in the first half and then both the men's matches, because watching the SmackDown and then the Raw back to back, I was completely uninvested in both matches. I was just ready for the Rumble.
Right.
But getting ahead of myself there.
I think the first half went really well. I think that it played really well, and the crowd were hotter for the women's matches than the men's matches, which plays into, obviously, if they're going to have the women main event WrestleMania, then this helps their narrative. So if Triple H and Vince or whatever are putting together the card and they're like, well, look, we want the hottest crowds for these matches, you put the men on later. Do you get what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
if they're
absolutely.
building towards having the women in the main event, then this sort of helps their cause, which, I mean, I don't know who they're trying to convince anyway, because we're all on board already.
Absolutely. I guess we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll start at the start, right? That's the best place to start. So
Absolutely.
Asuka, Becky Lynch, what a match this was, though. Like, holy crap! I was like, I feel bad for whoever follows them.
Absolutely. I know in my heart, like, watching it, I felt if Becky loses, she's going into the Rumble, so it's going to be okay if she loses. But also, Asuka needs this. She needs to be regaining her momentum. She needs to be staying strong. Becky doesn't need it at the moment because she's the hottest thing in wrestling. Asuka needs to be asserting her dominance. She needs that belt. And this match makes me just even more excited about the future of women's wrestling.
Yeah. I thought it was an odd choice having Becky tap, though. So obviously she locks in the inverted Asuka lock, which was badass.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I thought maybe a pass out would have made more sense than a tap, because she's the man. And so having the man tap to someone who is as damaged as Asuka, yeah, it helps Asuka a lot, but I was worried that it would, obviously Becky got a heat back later, so it didn't really matter too much. But yeah, I thought a pass out would have made more sense here.
Yeah, you would think with a pass out, though, it would be more unlikely that you'd be able to then return.
Right.
I think that Becky did a really good job later of selling her injuries and everything like that. So I think that if it's a pass out, it's more unlikely that she's going to be able to then come back.
That's true, and she can always play it off like she always planned to enter the Rumble.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
So she can sort of play that off with a promo. Becky can get her heat back no matter what. So she's going to be fine. But yeah, it was definitely good for Asuka to get the win there, and she looked strong in the victory too.
Absolutely, I'm really excited about this resurgence of Asuka.
Yeah,
and I'm very curious to see who she will face come WrestleMania.
Right, that's the question: is who gets Asuka at WrestleMania?
Yeah, I figured that if for any reason it wasn't going to be the obvious choice of Charlotte or Becky to win the Rumble, I would love to see Ember Moon win and challenge Asuka. I think that would be a phenomenal match.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah, cross brands. Yeah, but
yeah,
I think that we want it to be Charlotte, right? We want it to be Charlotte that challenges Asuka at Mania, just so she's as far away from the Ronda match as possible.
Yeah, and also like a rematch of their match last year, which I think left a little bit to be desired. I think it will be good to see them. Asuka's a year down the road now. She's got more main roster experience. Not that she needed more experience, but she's the crowd are more familiar with her and everything now.
Yeah.
I would love to see her get her revenge on Charlotte.
And the company have even more faith in letting women go out there and do their thing for a longer period of time as well.
Absolutely.
So, they're not going to... There's the potential there for the match to be better. Did I tell you my fantasy booking for the Rumble? Because I wasn't on the preview cast, so I didn't get to share this with the world. But what I wanted to happen was I actually wanted Becky to win here. And I wanted Sasha to give Ronda Rousey her first proper loss.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ronda Rousey, being all pissed off, attack someone, enter herself in the Rumble, and then challenge Becky Lynch.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Because she said in the media that she really wants to do a Royal Rumble, and of course there's all the rumblings of her... Ooh, see what I did there? All the rumblings of her not being around post-Mania, so I was like, maybe this is her chance to do the Royal Rumble. I thought that would be really cool, and keep everyone on their toes, but, they went with the more predictable route, which, is still fine. We wanted it for a reason.
I think Sasha and Bayley will be looking at those titles come Elimination Chamber. So it would make sense for Sasha to have the belt.
Definitely. I'm really worried that the women's tag titles are going to end up getting left off WrestleMania with the whole 4 horsewomen throwing up of the sign there at the end of the Rumble match. At the end of their match, but we'll get to that in a minute. Then we get Bar versus Shane and Miz. I don't know what to say about this match. I feel like it was a decent match. Shayna Mac's shooting star was beautiful.
That was one of the most unexpected pops of the crowd when everyone saw Shane get on the top turnbuckle. Everyone thought he was going to go for an elbow or whatever. Someone jokingly, by someone, it was me, yelled out, "Do a 450." And then I'm pretty sure it was Welchie from on the turnbuckle yelled out, "Nah, shooting star press." And then he goes and does it. That, for me, made the whole match. I think the match was very passable until that ending. That ending was perfect. I think that was the perfect way to get them over.
Yeah, but, I mean, I don't know, Shane and Miz as champions... to me, WWE being like, we're going to start taking the tag division seriously. And to be honest, with the competition they have nipping at their heels... and with the way tag teams are over in NXT, they kind of have to start taking the tag division seriously. And they're like, we're going to start taking the tag division seriously. And the boss's son and a joke just beat one of the best, most decorated tag teams in the company. Throws me a little.
Shane's got to get a match at WrestleMania somehow.
Yeah. So have him do the shooting star, right? But not get the pin. And then claim that he's better than Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar's not the best in the world, so...
He didn't win the match, but he at least didn't break his neck.
Exactly.
Right? So you could... But yeah, no, he did win the match. And so you think this is leading to Shane and Miz break up and then they have a match?
Yeah. I don't know if they'll be able to do it that quickly, although we do have 2 pay-per-views before WrestleMania.
Do we really?
Yeah, Elimination Chamber, and then we normally get one Fastlane Roadblock or
but they're not
Fastlane or
they're not split branded anymore. They're co-branded pay-per-views, so I don't know if they're going to do 2.
But they did that. They did that even before they had the brand split. They had because there was the one where it was Roman Reigns versus Triple H. That was before the brand split, and Dean Ambrose challenged Triple H, and I legitimately thought that Dean Ambrose was going to win, and it was going to be Ambrose versus Reigns at WrestleMania 32.
You legitimately are stupid.
I know. It's still real to me, damn it.
But here's the thing on this road to WrestleMania that we're on now. It looks like they actually are taking more into account what the fans like, which I think is going to be the greatest legacy of AEW, that WWE kind of have to pay attention to the crowd again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because all this stuff, do you really think that it would have been Becky winning the Rumble if there was no risk of people going elsewhere? I don't think it would. I think they would have just stuck the path with Charlotte.
I think that they learned a lot from the Daniel Bryan movement. I'd like to hope it's taken them a little bit, but the way the crowd has gotten behind Becky would have been, it wasn't their plan. It was completely by surprise.
Yeah.
And I think that they've
Right.
decided, let's run with this, as opposed to going against it and being like, no, you don't like the Ranger girl, you like the blonde girl. No.
I'm going to put a flag in something you just said there about them learning a lot since the Daniel Bryan incident, and I'm going to come back to that after Daniel Bryan's match. But let's get on to Ronda Rousey versus Sasha Banks. And I was thinking in my head, I'm like, there is no way that this match can top the women's match that just happened. And I don't know if it topped it, but it at least equaled it. Like, the bar may not have raised, but it definitely wasn't lowered either. Like, this was a really good match. The thing, it reminded me how much I love Sasha Banks, to be honest with you, because she's not been showcased well in the last couple of years.
No, absolutely not. Ever since she and Charlotte sort of moved away from the competing in the title picture, she's definitely been shoved aside, especially in the last 18 months. Her promo against Ronda on Raw during the week was absolute fire. And
yeah,
I remember talking with my friends during the match, and we were like, who is the face in this? Because of course it's Ronda. Ronda's, queen of everything and whatever. And Sasha is, I don't think Sasha was the straight up heel in this situation, but yeah.
It's up to you, WWE Universe. Cheer who you want, you boo who you want. There are no heels or faces.
And just the way that Sasha was coming up she was still like her sassy, like, I'm the shit kind of deal, but she was the underdog, and she was, I just fell in love with her a little bit on Tuesday here. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought. The way that they reversed all the submissions and everything in this match, I absolutely loved. And whilst in my brain I was like, it's going to be Ronda, during the match, I legitimately thought Sasha might do this.
Yeah. Yeah, that happened a few times for me in this show, which is brilliant. When they can make you think, okay, I know who's going to win, but do I? Do I really? Because the way this is going, it could go either way. That's when wrestling is at its best. But yeah, Sasha Banks, for me, it's all the little things, man. Like the way she was, the reversing of the submissions and stuff, avoiding the armbar, and Ronda Rousey in her post-match interview with, I always forget the interviewer's name because it's just interchangeable good-looking person number 3 or 4.
Yep, generically pretty brunette girl.
Yeah, when she did her post-match interview, she talked about, like, she was too focused on the armbar and that left her open to other things, because this was the first time Ronda Rousey won by a pinfall.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and ever?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All her other wins have come by submission, and so having had all her wins come by submission, Sasha was so focused on avoiding the armbar that she left herself open to other offense. It was brilliant the way they did it, and all the little things in there that Sasha does. Like, she makes everything look scrappy. People say that Sasha looks sloppy sometimes, and I'm like, no, dude, she's not sloppy. Like, she's pretty damn good, and she makes things look scrappy, because real fights are scrappy.
Yeah, especially when she's, more on the petite side. She wants to look more like a fight. I think it helps make her look more like a fighter as opposed to like a spot monkey.
Yeah, as opposed to like Casey Catanzaro in the Royal Rumble, who did fantastic, by the way. We'll get to her. But, everything there, except for her greenness, but everything there is smooth, and, it doesn't... Or closer to home, something like Paris de Silva. I don't know if his stuff looks brilliant, but it doesn't look like he's hurting them. But then when he gets thrown around, it looks like he gets hurt.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the same thing with Sasha, but yeah, by making herself be scrappier and a bit sloppier, which is the wrong word. I like scrappy. I think that's the best word. It really looks like she's fighting and really wants to win, and I love that. And yeah, this match was fantastic. And then Sasha throwing up the 4 at the end there after she lost and she came back for the handshake and stuff, and she throws up the 4. And it's kind of like a sign of disrespect in Ronda's mind, because Ronda's like, well, we're actually training partners. You 4 don't even like each other. It's just a gimmick for you guys, but it's real life for us. I feel like we're going to end up with all of them at ringside, which I'm worried about. I would rather just see Becky versus Ronda, nothing else, not having everyone at ringside. But I think they're going to go that route of everyone at ringside, which is going to bum me out.
That post-match segment went too long. It should have just been, Sasha should have just done the 4 thing in the ring. The going back and forth, I'm like, she better be going to hit her if that's what she's going to do, because otherwise this is going too long. It went on, it seemed like an afterthought. The way she kept going back and forth. It's like me when I get into an argument with someone and they'll be like, okay. And they'll be like, and another thing.
Like maybe she forgot that she was supposed to do it. Then she doubles back. No, but yeah, it did take a little long. I think the women's rumble went really long as well. Did it feel really long to you?
Just having a look at the numbers here, the women's rumble went for about 15 minutes longer than the men's. It went for 72 minutes and the men's went for 57.
I really enjoyed the women's rumble, and a lot of people have disagreed with me already online, but I felt like this was better than last year's.
Oh, absolutely. I think looking back, last year's at the time, watching it was awesome. But looking back now, the amount of people that kind of missed out because we had Michelle McCool and Kelly and Vicky Guerrero, I get why they did it. But this was a showcase of how deep the women's division is within WWE and NXT.
Yeah, exactly.
There was no one in there who I thought they're taking up someone else's space.
Yeah, no, it was brilliantly booked too. And yeah, for me, that's the biggest difference between last year's and this year's. Last year's was a celebration of like, hey, we're here. We have a Royal Rumble. Look at all these girls that made this possible, right? And that was great. But this one, for me, I thought this was better because this was focused on the future. Like, you had lots of NXT girls in there. Xia Li. Who would have expected Xia Li to show up in the Royal Rumble? That was fantastic.
She was my, so the Rebel from MCW organized a raffle, like a sweepstake thing. And Xia Li was mine. So I was a little bit disappointed, but also very excited to see her. I was like, I don't see her taking it out, but very exciting. One of my favorite parts of the Rumble was Lacey Evans and Charlotte Flair facing off because they looked like the player 1 and player 2 versions of each other. One was all in blue and the other was all in red, and they've both got their bright blonde hair. I thought that was like a funny kind of, I don't know if it was planned or whatever, but I loved watching them facing off. Yeah,
they were great. I feel like that's a big feud for the future. Yeah, WWE are very high on Lacey, I'm sure. And it's funny too because her character is one that she's. I mean, her character is basically the opposite of Daniel Bryan. She's like a right-wing conservative who's like proud to be a wife of a Trump supporter and stuff like this. Like it's a really odd character.
Yeah,
and my daughter decided to choose today to become a Lacey Evans fan because she was wearing sparkly blue.
Oh, okay, well that's fair.
Yeah, which is absolutely fair. Her outfit was gorgeous, but it was just really funny because then as well later, one day my daughter's going to listen to this and be like, "Dad, why did you say that? I was 4." But my daughter also confused Apollo Crews, saying, "Oh look, it's another member of the New Day."
Oh, your daughter's a racist.
Yeah, I'm like, she thinks Apollo Crews is in the New Day. She supports Lacey Evans. Where did I go wrong? What did I do, Dennis?
we like my friends and I were kind of talking about like because Vince McMahon isn't known for his progressiveness. We were wondering if he just thought because I was so impressed with the ethnic diversity of the Rumble, and I was like, do you reckon Vince McMahon just thinks that all these people like Xia Li and Kairi Sane and Io Shirai, does he think that they're all just Asuka coming out like Mick Foley in 1998? Like
the many faces of Asuka.
I know, like it's horrible. Horrible, but like I can imagine that being something going through Vince McMahon's brain.
I can imagine someone pitching that to Vince and he'd be like, "I love it." And then him congratulating Asuka after the show, like, "You did such a great job tonight. At one point, I'm sure I saw you fighting yourself."
It was especially when who was first out of it was when Kairi Sane got eliminated. That's when Io Shirai came out pretty much straight away. So they went
to get revenge against the Riot Squad.
They weren't in the ring at the same time. So I was like, maybe it was just anyway. That's a horrible way of thinking. They're both very different performers.
No, and look, we have to assume Vince has either come a long way or loosened the grip a little because, it was very diverse, which is a big win, and it shows the strength of the women's division. Like, there is so much going on. Like, some of the people that showed up, I mentioned before Casey Catanzaro. She was my star in this match because I said going in, like, before the show went live during the pre-show, I was like on Twitter and stuff, and I was like, I need Casey Catanzaro to show up in the Rumble and do the Kofi escape spot.
Yeah, that was very cool.
And then, then when Naomi did the Kofi escape spot, I was like, no. But then Casey came out and she did one anyway, and I loved it, and it was brilliant.
Yeah, hers was no shade, Naomi. Hers was better. It was very different. And I liked. Yeah, well, I know we'll get onto the men's Rumble in a little bit. So that part was awesome. I'm not too familiar with her because I'm not super into NXT. I am trying to watch it more.
Right. Yeah.
But I loved her.
She's very, very athletic. She's a gymnast, and she was on American Ninja Warrior.
Oh, okay. And she's Mrs.
So I'm pretty sure
Ricochet,
WWE is super high on her.
Is she Mrs. Ricochet?
I do not know. I don't really follow the personal lives as much as people. I tend to not know unless it's come up before in the news somehow. Yeah.
Gosh, letting me down. I bet you don't even watch Total Divas.
I used to. Total Divas was like my guilty pleasure for a long time, but I don't know. Around season 4, I kind of just fell out. The first season of Total Bellas was pretty good too, but yeah, no, I haven't watched in a while. I never watched Ms. and Mrs. either, which supposedly was actually really good.
We're going on a tangent here, but they are. I love them so much. They are so. I remember watching this one episode when Maurice was on Total Divas, and they got into an argument because Maurice kept adopting dogs. I was just like, "You're the best, Maurice." They are together. They've been together for about 2 months. So
okay,
yeah,
all right, yeah,
and also
so the flippy boy and the flippy girl,
yeah, Lord and Lady Flippy shit. There is Fastlane on March the 10th. I looked that up as well and forgot to mention it. So we are getting 2 pay-per-views between now and WrestleMania.
Wow. So there you go. So before we get to the closing out of the Women's Rumble, one more thing I want to point out, or 2 more things actually. The storytelling in this Rumble was fantastic. I love it when a Rumble has lots of, payoff to stories that have been building up. So you had the Naomi and Mandy Rose stuff. You had Riot Squad targeting Natalya, and the Riot Squad strategy of having the 2 on the outside pulling people out, weakening them, and tossing them back in for Ruby to finish off was brilliant. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Not that I can think of. No.
Yeah.
That was cool.
So. I mean, I notoriously have a really short memory with wrestling, which I think helps when it comes to watching WWE at least. But yeah, in my memory, I've never seen that strategy in the Rumble before, and Rumbles are my thing. So
also what we need to touch on, Zelina Vega with Hornswoggle. I've never been so excited to see Hornswoggle. That spot was amazing. She sold that so well. And when he's chasing her up the
ramp
through the ring and then up the ramp, that was beautiful. That was so well done. The way
it was something.
Yeah, it was something different, and it was a bit of fun to kind of break up all the graps.
Yeah. You always get those little spots that very fun, and it keeps her in the mix and keeps her over without exposing her, because she's not that great necessarily in the ring. So
not yet.
Yeah, I was a fan. I was a fan.
Fun statistic: 10% of the Women's Rumble were Australian.
Yes, so that was the other point that I wanted to get to.
Oh, sorry,
was not only were our girls the Iconics in there, but Rhea Ripley made her Royal Rumble debut.
Yeah, she looked so strong. I loved the way they booked her for that. She looked fantastic. She eliminated 3 people, which was pretty high up. I think Charlotte Flair had the most eliminations. She came in at number 24 and eliminated 3 people, and then she was knocked out by Bayley, which created some huge boos at the Sporting Globe. We were all relentlessly behind Rhea, even though we didn't sort of really think that she would. It didn't make a whole lot of sense for her to win.
Once I saw her come out, I thought she'll make top 4 because she's that powerhouse. I thought she'd get like a decent amount of eliminations, but unfortunately it wasn't to be. But yeah, she had a really good run. A hometown girl for me, so very proud of Demi Bennett, Rhea Ripley. Great work, and of course the Iconics as well. They had their fun little spot when Billie Kay first comes out, and she's like, "No, I'm not going in without Peyton."
My friends told me that I sound like her, and I I was a little bit upset, but then also acknowledging that it's totally true. I do have like a high-pitched bogan voice.
You sound about half as bogan as she does. Though. she has the most Australian. Like I need Adam Brooks to get signed and be partnered with her, just to be like the most Australian duo that has ever been seen anywhere since Kath and Kim. You know,
Love it.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
January is here and we are fast approaching WrestleMania season. Royal Rumble and the road to WrestleMania are around the corner, so the time to dilly-dally is past us. If you want to experience WrestleMania live, and who doesn't, let's be honest, you deserve it. The best and really the only way to do it is with All Aussie Travelers. All Aussie Travelers are new to the wrestling travel package game, but they are veterans at travel, and they have put together a package that cannot be beaten. For less than $7,500, All Aussie Travelers are going to send you to New York, New York, with return flights, airport transfers, full accommodation, and tickets to the WWE Hall of Fame, NXT pre-show party, NXT TakeOver, WrestleMania, Monday Night Raw, SmackDown Live, and more. The coolest part about these packages is that for NXT TakeOver, Raw, and SmackDown, you are going to be seated in your own private VIP suite, normally not available to the public. But All Aussie Travelers have you covered, man. They got this locked down. It has its own bar, it has its own bathroom access, and all the luxuries that a VIP box comes with, not least of which, of course, an incredible view for everything happening in the ring. All of this for under $7,500. They're practically giving these packages away, man. You'd be crazy not to check it out. So head over to All Aussie Travelers on Facebook. The link is in the show notes. And tell them that the B Plus sent you. And let's go watch WrestleMania in style. Hey guys, just a reminder, if you want to hear all of these wonderful B Plus podcast episodes completely ad-free, make sure you head over to Patreon or Podbean, where we are the featured podcast this week. You can subscribe for as little as $1 a month up to $10 a month, where anything you want to help us with, it really helps out. It's going to help us grow the site. It's going to help us redesign some things, and everything that we get through this and through the advertising as well is all going straight back into the podcast so that we can get Aussie Graps out there for the rest of the world to hear about, for the rest of the world to see, so we can grow this mission of watch global, support local, and build indie wrestling. So if you want to be a part of that and get some really cool rewards like call-in shows, bonus episodes, ad-free like I mentioned, then head over to patreon.com/theb+ and subscribe today.
Obviously, the big thing, my friends and I, I keep saying my friends and I, we were calculating how many spots were left and who was left to come out. When Lana...
We get it, Danders. You have friends, okay?
I know. You'll be so proud of me, Mum. When Lana came out, we'd worked out that Nia Jax and Carmella were still to come out. And so when Lana's music hit, and because I hadn't seen the pre-show, I didn't know about the leg injury thing. I'm assuming that happened on the pre-show.
Yeah, so she took the bump off the apron when Rusev hit the ropes. Yeah, so that was how the ending came. He was distracted because he accidentally knocked his wife out.
Yeah. And so, I mean, when she first starts hobbling, all the murmurs are going, Becky's going to come and replace her, and then the next person, Nia came out, Nia gives her a shove and then comes into the ring, and we're like, and then obviously after that, Carmella comes in, and we're thinking, this is just going to not be a thing, why would they even do this? And I turned to my mate Benny and I'm like, we're not getting Becky, are we? And then he goes, no, but look, we don't really need her. And then bang, out she comes. It was beautiful.
So yeah, they let it go just that little bit long enough that you're like, well, maybe they're just gonna have Lana, come in like really slowly and get tossed out. Like, I don't know what's going on here, but they left it long enough that maybe Becky's not coming, even though at first everyone watching thought, yes, Becky's coming now.
Yeah.
And they waited until after number 30 to do it, which I think it really worked.
Yeah, I thought when Nia comes out and starts attacking her, I thought Nia was going to throw her into the ring and then just eliminate.
And then toss her out.
Yeah, which would make a whole lot of sense, but not a whole lot. Nia does make sense these days. But when it got down to the final four, I believe the final four were Nia, Becky, Charlotte, Bayley.
Yes.
And I was like, with the exception of Nia, I would be happy for any of these 3 girls to win. And I just thought, imagine if Nia was Sasha. I know it doesn't make sense because she already had the match with Ronda.
She had the, yeah.
It's so cliche, but a 4 horsewomen Final 4 would have been amazing. However, I couldn't have been more excited with the ending.
Yeah, like I said, I think it was brilliantly booked. It came down to Becky and Charlotte, obviously, after Becky eliminated Nia. And, Nia attacking Becky, injuring the leg. Becky insisting she can go. And then Charlotte just ruthlessly, like, yeah, I'm going after your leg, bitch. Like,
yeah,
this is happening.
Yeah,
it was amazing from beginning. Well, I feel like the Rumble stumbled a little at the beginning, but it came real good around the halfway point of this Rumble match, and I really loved everything about this. Becky wins. It was like the whole Stone Cold thing. It was amazing.
Yeah, and the look on her face, like she was so excited, and she's always got like this really I'm the best kind of stoic face, but she was just wrapped, and she deserves it so much. And I just love her. I love her, my sunshine.
And they gave her time to soak it in too.
Yeah, absolutely. They didn't rush her out of the ring.
No, but that's the thing is, why wasn't this the main? I feel like the excitement level for this and the excitement level for Seth later on, I feel like this should have been the main, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's because I don't know what they were thinking with the Nia Jax spot. I don't know.
Because Twitter was buzzing. Twitter was buzzing when Becky won, and they're like, "Wait, this isn't the show closer. That means it must be something huge, right? Because if you're going to top the man closing the show as the winner going to WrestleMania, then you need to have something huge." And then the show just kind of went out with a whimper when we get to the end, and it's kind of bummy.
Yeah. So,
but
which of the matches was next?
AJ and Bryan had the death spot. So they come out straight after this super hot finish to a Royal Rumble. Everyone's exhausted I was exhausted from counting down. I had to take a break here to make lunch for the kids and stuff while AJ and Bryan are making their entrances. And yeah, but I feel like this match was a great reset match.
It was. It went for almost 25 minutes, which is too long. I know it's a championship match, but we have seen these guys how many times? Like,
true. But they had to give the crowd time to sort of get over the lethargy from the Rumble and get back into it. And I thought that it was paced perfectly in that regard. And by the end, it was like a real banger of a match. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think I was just, by this stage, the cocktail jugs were setting in. The sun, we were sitting in the sun, which was, I was just over this. I think after watching 70 minutes of Rumble, this and the next match are probably the ones I paid attention to the least. So if you want to name, you'll probably want to take the reins for naming the high spots there.
Well, I feel like I'm the same though. Like I was struggling through the AJ Bryan match, but yeah, towards the end they did the whole ref bump thing. Eric Rowan, what was that? What was with that?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like,
we're getting the thrifty vegan society.
Yeah, I see you have a beard. I too have a beard and like flannel. Did we just become best friends?
No, so I put a flag in it earlier that Vince has learned a lot since the Daniel Bryan saga. You'll remember the direction that he wanted to go with Daniel Bryan for that WrestleMania involved Daniel Bryan joining the Wyatts, right? And then when the crowd turned on it, he had to quickly scramble, get Daniel Bryan to leave the Wyatts and then go on the road to WrestleMania with the Yes Movement. But initially, that Wyatt thing was supposed to play out until WrestleMania. Now, we've circled back around now, and Daniel Bryan is going to lead a revamped version of the Wyatts that aren't creepy swamp people, cult people, but they're going to be like far left, Antifa, vegan warriors.
And then we're going to get CM Punk back, and he's going to bring back the Straight Edge Society. And
we're going to have, absolutely. But wouldn't the Straight Edge Society and the Vegan Thrifty Society be friends?
Potentially. You don't know. And then you're going to get Davey Havoc from AFI come out because he's a straight edge vegan. And I'm very tired. That sounded a lot funnier in my head. But
he'll just be like, why can't we all just get along? Yeah. It's I don't know. I'm really interested to see where it goes. I feel like Daniel Bryan will turn anything into money at this point anyway.
Yeah, he's very...
Like, he's the best heel in the company.
Yep.
And like a year ago, he was the best babyface in the company. Like, it's insane how good he is.
Yeah, loving it. Loving it much more than the next match that we got.
Lesnar versus Balor, and Balor comes out without any paint, so you know that he's dying. But this was similar to the Sasha thing. He made me believe. He really did. I thought, because when they targeted the midsection with the spots on the table, and, Brock had diverticulitis, right? So he's already got the weak midsection. We know this. And he cops those shots to the table and stuff, and then Balor kept targeting that midsection, and Brock struggled to hit the suplexes and stuff. And I thought, if he hits the coup de grace, they might actually let him pin Brock. And they didn't.
No,
he hit the coup de grace.
Lol, Brock wins.
Got the 2 count. Yeah, lol, Brock wins into it. He just locked straight into the Kimura lock, just out of nowhere.
Yeah. And then,
yeah.
And did you know that Finn is very short and Brock is less short than Finn? They book Brock at 6'3". There's no way he's 6'3". He's like a little boulder man. But the way that the graphics that they were using, it's like, why are they putting that Brock is like 2 heads taller than Finn?
Yeah, they're trying to make it look like, it's like it's Hornswoggle. Like it was a bit of a joke.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't explain this.
Yeah, it was a Brock Lesnar match. After the match, I thought that Finn put in a really strong performance, and it was like a disappointing but understandable finish. And then Brock just got the shovel out. And
yeah, the post-match attack was weird, and I'm like, that to me sets up the Demon versus Brock. But obviously, with the Rumble, like, could you have had the Demon's a separate thing, so the Demon enters the Rumble? Could you have had that? But I don't know. It was weird to me that they did the beatdown. I think that was a bit too much.
Yeah, that was...
Because when does he get his heat back,
Yeah, pretty much. I was just ready for the next match, and I was like, I don't know why they're doing this. This doesn't benefit anyone. Everyone knows Brock's a jerk. I don't know why they need to make Brock look like more of a jerk.
I'll say this about Brock Lesnar, though. He does do his best work when it's a match that he actually wants. And the rumors went around that, of course, he wanted Finn Balor in a match, just like he wanted Daniel Bryan, he wanted AJ Styles. He likes to work the smaller guys, and he has better matches with those guys every time.
Yeah, it's because he's not 6'3", and they want to make him look like he's 6'3".
No, but like when he goes in there against like Randy Orton or John Cena, he looks like he just doesn't, or Roman Reigns, he looks like he just does not give a shit and does not want to be there. And he doesn't put in a performance at all. He's just like, I'm here to get paid. But then when he goes in there against Daniel Bryan, when he goes in there against AJ Styles, or this match against Finn, it's a very different Brock that you end up with.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, hats off to him for that, I guess.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Royal Rumble. I just wasn't about these matches, unfortunately.
You know what I wasn't about? Elias and Jeff Jarrett as number 1 and 2 in the Royal
You are the only person in the world who is not about that. The pop when Jeff Jarrett came out.
But at this point, the show's already been going for 6 hours.
True.
6 hours, like including the pre-show. So I've been watching this for 6 hours, and they're like, "Oh, do you want to hear us sing a duet?" No, I want the wrestles to happen so the wrestles can finish. I
want the grab.
Because this has been 6 hours. Yeah, it's... But then once they did do Elias and Jeff Jarrett as number 1 and 2, I was very disappointed that Honky Tonk Man was not number 3.
He's got long side burns and his hair's slicked back.
Like, how did you not... I don't know. Anyway, so they do the whole bit with the, hits him with the guitar and tosses him, and then the real Royal Rumble starts with Shinsuke coming out. He was the real number 2.
Shinsuke in Kane cosplay. He looks like Kane. Why was he dressed like Kane? I didn't get it.
Yeah, that's just his thing now. He's the artist known as Shinsuke Nakamura. I don't know what they're doing with his character. I mean, and he just won the US title on the pre-show, and now here he is in the Royal Rumble too. Okay.
Yep.
Like, all right.
But they didn't put Rusev in it, did they? Was Rusev in it?
No, he wasn't. And Elias looked like an idiot too, because not Elias. Elias made Shinsuke look like an idiot too, because he did that whole old school bit where he walks across the ropes like Undertaker, but went all the way to the other side.
Yeah.
And he's on the top rope. and Shinsuke's just walking with him. Like, knock him off, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
It made no sense to me.
Yeah.
This Royal Rumble, I felt like, it just like I said, the show kind of ended with a whimper. There were some good parts. Like, I popped for Titus, being very careful getting into the ring. I popped for that.
Braun
I popped for Pete Dunne.
had the most eliminations. He had 6.
That's no surprise.
Yeah, everyone else the next highest. There was a few people on 3, including Seth Rollins, who had 3.
I was very interested to see what I believe, and what I believe in my heart is some foreshadowing with Rey Mysterio and Andrade. Did you pick up on it?
Not really, but I was trying to keep my eyes on Andrade because he had a good showing. I think apart from Seth Rollins, him and Samoa Joe were on pretty much even time. They both lasted about 23 minutes each. He put on
Mustafa Ali as well had a good showing.
Mustafa Ali. Oh, he had 30 minutes. My goodness.
Yeah, Mustafa Ali was in there for a while. He was. I picked Mustafa Ali as the Iron Man. Like, I wanted him 1 or 2, and I thought he'd last all the way till the close to the final 4, if not the final 4. But because they're big on Ali, but they didn't go with that. But no, what I was talking about, Andrade and Rey. They were wearing matching gear. They were both in the really bright yellow, like the exact same hue of yellow.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. I'm terrible.
I'm predicting that these two, with their little feud that they've got going on, which we think is going to make it to WrestleMania, where they've talked about potentially a mask versus hair match, right? This is what the rumors are anyway. I think it could lead to them becoming a tag team.
Yeah, I could see this.
And them having matching gear at the Royal Rumble. I just don't see it as a coincidence. Like, Rey Mysterio is the kind of guy that thinks about this kind of shit,
absolutely. I could get on board.
He's really big on his gear. So I'm looking forward to, if they want to rebuild a tag division. I mean, not that SmackDown tag division really needs help. SmackDown has a strong tag division. But Andrade and Rey would make a really cool team.
Yeah, absolutely. I would be all over that.
Yeah. What was with the treatment of Bobby Lashley though?
Was bizarre. I don't know what they're doing with him. It's like, do you want me to get on board? I like the idea of maybe if Leo Rush somehow caused something, and then maybe he turned on that, started something there. But no, it was just garbage. He was just treated like garbage.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, this is a guy who, realistically, he's one of the guys you want to look strong in the Rumble, because not only is he your Intercontinental Champion, having recently beaten Seth Rollins, but he is very much so one of the most legitimate contenders for Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, 12 seconds he lasted. Beaten only by
ridiculous.
Titus O'Neil and Xavier Woods. Both had pretty short stints.
Yeah, he got eliminated right after the commentators pointed out that there's never been an Intercontinental Champion win the Royal Rumble, right? And so they say that, and I think, okay, cool, we're setting up for Bobby Lashley to have a Randy's gone.
Yeah. He was only there to find directions on how to get away from there.
I wanted them to build Bobby Lashley here because he is a potential contender for Brock Lesnar, and they should really play on that because it makes him look strong. And they just, I don't know what their deal is with Bobby Lashley. It's like they can't decide whether to, what is it that Stone Cold says? Shit or wine their watch? I don't even know.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know expressions. Yeah, but they don't know what the fuck they're doing with Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, I don't. This was just I don't know if it was a disappointing Rumble or if it was just because the women's Rumble was so good. And then when Nia Jax came out, I just thought, this makes everyone look dumb. This made no one look better.
Well, okay. I thought that at first. When she jumped R-Truth, I was like, oh, really? This is not going to end well. By the time she tossed out Mustafa Ali, I was like, I could hear the crowd. It turned from, what are you doing here, to eliminate her, kill her. She just tossed Mustafa Ali, right? Like, it turned into real heat. And then when she ate the super kick, like, she was a freaking trooper, man. Like, put in one hell of a performance. I actually think this was WWE testing the waters for intergender stuff, and I think they got the response they wanted, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I felt like it made Nia look weak. I don't think that
really?
She looked...
It took it took 3 finishes for her to get eliminated.
Yeah, and it made Randy Orton look hella creepy. Like he couldn't wait to get his fist into the woman. That's the only part that, yeah, I don't know. I was just like...
See, I didn't see that because I don't see it as like, yeah, she's the woman out there. I see it as she's Nia Jax out there, which, you know, you can take from that what you will. But for me, I'm just like, if she's in the Rumble, if she's a competitor, has entered herself into the match, like, it's not creepy for Randy Orton to want to hit her with a finishing move. It's
but
smart.
his faces were creepy. But that's just the way he looks. He's just a creepy dude.
That's just Randy Orton, though. That's just Randy Orton.
I didn't hate Nia going in because she's female and it shouldn't be. It didn't make any sense. It's like you've just gotten eliminated from another Rumble, and now you're coming into this one. Like, what are you gonna win and face Brock Lesnar? Like, is that what are you doing?
Well, she could have won. She could have won and challenged Asuka, right?
I don't know. I don't know what the rules would be.
Yeah, me either. But I feel like that's what they could have gone for if they wanted to. It would have been odd if she won. I will say that, given the competitors that were there, I don't know if it would have made sense for her to win. But I enjoyed the spot for what it was, and I thought the one thing I didn't like about it was clearly JBL didn't get the script for what they were going for, because when Ray turned around and decided to hit back, right? The JBL's reaction was, "Oh, what are you doing? Don't hit her. Why are you doing that, Ray?" Like, that was his reaction. Yeah. And it was like, dude, she's in the Rumble match. She just laid out what do you mean don't hit her? Hit her. Throw her over the top rope. Get her out of there. She's much bigger than you.
My main reaction was, why is JBL here?
Yeah, because, yeah, true. JBL and King, I was just like, yay, this commentary team will be fun. But no, it was, for me, I thought that her coming out with who was left in the ring when she came out as well. I mean, Randy Orton was the biggest guy in there. She had Ali, Andrade, Ray, and Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins.
Yeah, was Seth Rollins and was there no Braun Strowman?
Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins were both laying
they were outside
at that point. Yeah, but so she could look at the ring. She saw Ali, Andrade, Ray, Ziggler, and Randy Orton, and she's like, "I'm bigger than all these people.
I'm bigger than you.
I have a chance to win this."
Chin.
Yeah, and so it I don't know. I bought into it. At first, I didn't. At first, I was like, "What the fuck are they doing?" And then for a second, it was like, "This is weird." But then I got really into it, and then she was eliminated, and it was really fun. I thought it was great. I think WWE might have a case on their hands for we can see what we can do here. Maybe create a specific division for people who sign up for that. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are upset on Twitter about it already.
I just thought it was dumb. I don't think anyone looked better for the experience. But that's just me. I don't like Nia Jax, and it's not because of like face breaker or anything like that. It's just I just don't like her. I feel like she's a charisma vacuum. I don't like her.
Yeah, I agreed. I agreed right up until she turned the face breaker thing into a gimmick. And then I was like, okay. Because like before that, her whole thing was, I'm not like most girls because I'm big.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, like I don't get what this is. But since she turned it into the whole face breaker thing, and I've kind of gotten a little bit more on board than Nia Jax train, but not necessarily like fully on board. But this was fun. I enjoyed this personally. Yep. But ultimately, yeah, Rollins, I feel like the ending was so telegraphed because he got put through a table and then laid out for half the match. It's like, okay, so Seth Rollins is winning, right? They're going to forget that he's there, and he's going to come back and he's going to win.
Yeah, a little bit.
And then he did that.
I just thought it was going to be Seth Rollins when I saw like the final four. I was like, it has to be him. Who else of these people could it be? And I know there's a lot of people online being like, he doesn't need it. He doesn't need the win, but I think that he deserves it. I think that, careers don't go forever, and if you don't win a Royal Rumble, there's always going to be that sort of thing. When you think of all the greats of the modern era, they've all won a Royal Rumble.
Have they all?
Well, name a name.
I'm trying to think of a name that hasn't. You're
Austin,
probably right. You're probably
Rock,
right. Royal Rumble's
Triple H, John Cena, Edge, Randy Orton.
Kane never won.
Kane has had the most mediocre championship reign of anyone near his tenure.
Mick Foley never won.
True. They never took Mick Foley seriously.
That's true. There's a few big names that have never won, but I get your point. I do feel like, given who was there, it was definitely Seth Rollins' time. He's the only one that we could believe could topple Brock Lesnar. He may not choose to do that. He may go after Daniel Bryan, and that would be a hell of a match and would open up for the Demon to face Brock Lesnar potentially. So there's a few ways they can go from here. Who do you think he picks?
I think he goes Lesnar. I think it's a throwback to WrestleMania 31 with the cash in. I think they're gonna build on that. And last year it was Brock versus Roman as the rematch from 31, and this year it's Brock versus Seth.
Yeah, that makes sense. And they can do the whole, I'm going to bring the title back every day because my brother couldn't do it because of his illness and all that sort of stuff. Like, Roman Reigns is going to play into this story.
Yeah, I hope so.
They haven't reminded us for a while that Roman Reigns has cancer, so they need to keep that in our memories so that we'll cheer him when he comes back. And I'm not a huge fan of that, but if it's Seth Rollins going for the title, I guess it kind of makes sense, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited. I'm excited for Raw tomorrow. I don't know the last time I said that. I'm very excited for Raw.
See, I'm less so, but that's more just because I haven't done the tally in my head. I probably should have done the tally, but I'm pretty sure I've watched close to 36 hours of wrestling this weekend.
36 hours of wrestling is very impressive.
That's one word for it.
Trademark.
Because there was about 10 hours of Ring of Honor shows. Then there was also MLW drops on the weekend, Impact, and of course Royal Rumble, NXT TakeOver, and we also had some Aussie stuff release over the weekend. Wrestle Rock came out, Underworld Wrestling came out. I'm pretty sure, I'd be maybe 30. I don't know. I'll have to tally it up, but I've watched a lot of wrestling this weekend, so I'm like, Raw tomorrow doesn't excite me in the slightest. Sleep tomorrow excites me.
Solid. I just want to, before we wrap things up, I just want to give a big thank you to the people who did organise the thing at Sporting Globe. I know that Rebel is a big hand in that. Shout out to the Dow Dog for hooking me up with a sweet Royal Rumble t-shirt, even though he said, here you go, Dangerfield. And I said, that's not my name. That's not my name. Yeah, it was.
You are not a store.
I know. Or a centre half forward for the Geelong Football Club. It was an amazing.
I don't understand this reference.
It's an AFL reference.
Speaking Greek.
It was an amazing day. The place was packed. I reckon they probably would have had maybe 60 or 70 people there. They had giveaways. It was really an enjoyable event. And of course, it's because it's a public holiday. They were able to get more people there, but it was fantastic. And yeah, big thanks to Ree and her crew for getting that sorted.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to MCW for putting on a show in Melbourne for Danders to go to, and then come home late so I don't have anyone to talk Royal Rumble with for 3 hours. Shout out to you guys.
I don't have anything to say to that.
Yeah, just making it real awkward. Just making it real awkward. No, well, I think that puts a pin in it. That's the Royal Rumble done. It's time for you to go and sleep off your hangover. Thank you so much for joining me to talk Royal Rumble. Where can people find you if they want to, get around the Danderfield?
On Instagram at Rachel Danderfield, DANDERFIELD. On Twitter at Danderfield, and as always, don't add me on Facebook. We are not friends.
I am at Greg Unchained on Twitter. Can I add you on Facebook?
We're friends on Facebook.
Okay, cool, good. All right, just wanted to get that out there. I am at Greg Unchained on Twitter, at the Greg Unchained on Instagram. We collectively are the B Plus Wrestler on Twitter because wrestling wouldn't fit the B Plus Wrestling everywhere else. Like, share, subscribe. If you want to support us, of course, easy ways to do so are by checking out our sponsors. Our new sponsor, the Muscle Hustle app. Link is in the notes. Download that shit. Play that shit. There's a promo code that you've already heard anyway. Get around it. That's the best way to support us as well. Of course, our Patreon, which is patreon.com/theb+, where if you get on there now, you can be part of a call-in show tomorrow where we're going to talk about the Rumble. We're going to talk about all the stuff that happened over the weekend. A huge weekend of wrestling. And best way to support us is with the Patreon. So thank you guys so much for listening. See you when we see you.
Hold one. Arm drag.
You're not good at this. Get out. Let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon.
You just made the list.
So, no speak English.
Goodbye and good night. Hold 2. Arm bar.
This is the worst town I've ever been in.
It's still real to me, damn it!
Hold 3. The moss covered 3-handle family grununcle.
Mamma mia! It's me, Austin! It was me all along, Austin!
Number 4. Arm bar.